Might not back up. We got a box today. LG sent us a monitor, and we're gonna have a look. I think it's gonna be an interesting one. The only problem, other than this dog, is clean my desk, because it's a disaster. One sec. Also, in this video, I am testing out the iRay DW20s by 7RYMS. Let me know how they sound. Milo out. Two barely go. Holy crap, this is a heavy arm. We may have an issue. I do not know if my desk will be able to hold this much weight. This arm is very heavy. Guess there's only one way to try. We now have 3 monitors on the desk. There's never too many monitors. HDMI, some sort of DC cable, USB-C, power, instructions, an Allen key, regular USB like upstream, and of course the power brick. There's like a 0% chance this HDMI cable is long enough. We got ourselves a massive cable. Let's plug her in. This right here is a very unique monitor that I did not know that I needed. We're going to be taking a look at the LG DualUp display. Now before we get started, I do want to say this is not a paid sponsored video. LG did send me the monitor to try out and share my thoughts. So let's get into it. This has been a very interesting experience. I've never owned a vertical monitor before, and I've never really had a desire to. Let's jump into some of the specs of this monitor. So the LG DualUp monitor with the ergo stand goes for $700, $699.99. The very unique resolution is 2560 by 2880. It is a IPS panel type, and the color gamut is DCI-P3 ranging from 90% to 98%. If you want to pause the video here and take a look at the specs, you can. I'm not going to read them all off, but it does support HDR10 and has a nano IPS technology. I think nowadays these are some of the things you would expect from a monitor of this price. It's definitely not a cheap monitor, but it is like half the price of an expensive monitor. Another thing to mention is the USB-C power delivery is 90 watts, which is really nice because I can power my MacBook Pro and use it as a display at the same time. Here are some pros and cons that I would have about this monitor. So the cool thing about this monitor is that it's not just a vertical monitor. You can rotate it into a landscape monitor. You just have to go into your settings and switch it to landscape. And now we have the monitor in like a almost square looking screen. This is a very interesting aspect ratio, but personally, I don't know if I would really use it all that much. If you were to use this as your main monitor, I could see myself rotating it more often, but I think this makes a really good secondary display in the vertical aspect ratio. So the very first thing I wanted to do when I got this monitor was open up Premiere. And just after a couple minutes of reconfiguring my Premiere layout, I realized how effective this monitor could be for editing vertical videos. You're definitely sacrificing the length of your timeline for the height of your video. But usually when you're editing vertical content, you don't really need a huge timeline. You just need a little bit to see what you're doing. Typically vertical videos are very short. So I could see this monitor being a very good tool for editing vertical videos. Now, not just vertical videos, editing portrait photos as well can be really nice on this monitor. The only thing I have to say about this monitor is actually it feels a little bit warm. But yeah, editing portrait photos is an absolute pleasure on this monitor. The only thing is that when you switch over to a horizontal photo, things get a little bit tighter. If you're curious what these photos and videos are about, my wife started a tufting business. If you're interested, you could follow her at shag.rags on Instagram. The resolution on the monitor seems very sharp, no complaints there. Everything looks and feels very clean. It's kind of like that sweet spot where I can still split screen left and right and not feel like my windows are like non-existent. It kind of just fits in that perfect box. Now, my number one use case for this monitor has actually been for code. Nowadays, I'm doing a lot less editing, a lot less filmmaking, and a lot more coding. Having a full screen terminal or full screen VS Code has been incredible. It's very rare that you'll need horizontal space when you're coding, but almost always you need that vertical space. So if you are any sort of developer, this display will be your friend. Now, when it comes to gaming, just don't. I only play Rocket League, and Rocket League wouldn't fit the aspect ratio. If it's not Rocket League, I'm not going to talk about it. I forgot to mention, if you are a Twitch streamer, this would be a great like secondary monitor for your Twitch chat. Also for gaming, the response time isn't that great. When I got Rocket League to launch at a weird resolution, it felt very floaty, which is like input delay. The display does have built-in speakers. They work, they get the sound out. It's more just if you need to hear something, not if you want to hear something. Now, moving on to some of the cons, I really don't have too much. When it came to color, just a little bit too warm, and I wasn't quite sure how to adjust. I don't know if I need to do a Windows setting, but honestly not really that big of a deal. I don't think most people are going to notice it. Usually any of the coloring I do anyways, I look at it on my phone, or I anticipate everyone to see it differently. Pretty much a non-issue for me. But yeah, I think it's a great monitor. I really like the stand that it comes with. It's really nice to move it around. Wouldn't recommend doing it with one hand. Definitely use two. So just to recap, the best use cases I would say is vertical content creation. It's really nice to use Lightroom or Premiere, any sort of programming, web design, you name it. And then I think overall, just a really solid secondary monitor. Any sort of utility is really good for. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you're interested in the LG DualUp Monitor, check the link in the description. Have yourselves a wonderful day.